Is that the life that you really want to create for yourself? This lifestyle by design, is that it? I mean, is that what you aspire to be and expend so much of your most precious resources to get there? Time away from family, your energy, your skill, your potential. Is that really it? Don't make this giant wealth mistake. A high salary does not create wealth, and this concept will change your life. Learn what does create wealth instead, and see how to get deep-pocketed banks like Chase and Wells Fargo to build wealth for you. This is exactly what I've already done, so settle in and watch this video until the end, because you can do this too. When I grew up, I thought that people got wealthy from high salaries, and adulthood has proven to me that they certainly don't. Rather than getting wealthy from high salaries, people obtain wealth by owning things. So what are these things, and how can you own them? A lot of them. Even if you come from average means, let's go ahead and break this down. Hi, I'm Keith Weinhold, Get Rich Education founder, Forbes Real Estate Council member, best-selling author, and longtime real estate investor. I mean, have you ever seen a person get wealthy from a high salary? I haven't. I mean, how actually would you get wealthy as a software developer, or a mason, or a paralegal, or even as a really well-compensated attorney? And I've worked as an employee in both the public sector and the private sector, and I've been a long-time real estate investor and entrepreneur. So I've seen both sides, and from different vantage points too. In fact, how would anyone even get wealthy from a high salary? How would that even work? If you've got a job, you are trading your time for dollars. You're selling your time for money. And you know, I used to do that too. And I actually think that everyone might get some perspective by having a taste of that. Most get that taste of being an employee. And say you're even entrenched in the game of climbing the corporate ladder to a progressively higher and higher salary. Well, first, in my experience, many job promotions, they get you perhaps 10% to 30% more in salary, but 2 times to 4 times the responsibility. Well, that's 200% to 400% more responsibility. And now, even if there's an edge case here, in your situation, in climbing the corporate ladder, I mean, where does that even get you in the end? What is that end game? Just look at your supervisor and their lifestyle. Is that really where you want to be? Look up higher at your supervisor's supervisor. What's their life like? Is that the life that you really want to create for yourself? This lifestyle by design, is that it? I mean, is that what you aspire to be and expend so much of your most precious resources to get there? Time away from family, your energy, your skill, your potential. Is that really it? I mean, just look at them. The answer is right in front of you. People don't get wealthy from high salaries. People get wealthy from owning things. We're going to get more on how, if you have average means, and how you can concretely own many things shortly. But first, let me address any more hang-ups you might have if you still think that a high salary could create wealth. Now, wealth is true freedom. Let's take an edge case here, a classically high-paid profession, a doctor, a surgeon, a specialist even, highly compensated, several $100,000s in salary each year. I know some of them. I also know a bunch of resident doctors too, and I talk with them. Now, what resident doctors are is they're basically finished with their formal schooling, and they are doctors in training, and they are repaying loans deep into the 6 figures after undergrad, pre-med, and after a few more years at medical school. Often it seems to be about $400,000 in debt that they have to pay back in the case of these resident doctors. But that's besides the point. It's common for these specialist physicians, once they start working, to work as a doctor for, say, 58 hours a week, or 71 and a half hours a week. Now, I said that high salaries don't create wealth. All right, well, how wealthy are you if after undergrad, then medical school, then 3 more years of low-paid residency, you finally get out, you're often into your 30s or older, and you're working 60 plus hours a week. 60 plus hours a week is not wealth and freedom at all. I mean, you probably just agreed with me a few minutes ago when I equated wealth with freedom. Do you know what else? When you pursued a specialty track like that, which often comes with loads of debt, you are in so deep. You've invested so much time and energy and chapters of your life and debt into that field that you can't pivot to another career even if you wanted to. You are trapped. And entrapment is the polar opposite of wealth and freedom, an antipode. Understand now, I just went out and gave an example of perhaps the highest salary type of person that I can think of to help prove my point. And think about, where does that leave you? And you've probably heard the end game trope about climbing the corporate ladder by now. Yep, you spent the best years of your life climbing the corporate ladder, only to find at the end, at the top, that ladder was leaning up against the wrong wall the entire time. Though a high salary doesn't create wealth, it can give you a chance, not even a guarantee, a chance of retirement, but only when you're older. That's different than wealth. All right, well, because high salaries don't make people wealthy, then how do people get wealthy from owning things? There are 2 main ways. You can launch and own a business, or there is real estate. Now, launching and owning a business takes a ton of entrepreneurial ambition and grit and stick-to-itiveness and risk, and you've often got to have a novel idea, a new idea that creates value for the world that someone else isn't already doing, and this can be a worthwhile venture, and successful entrepreneurs, they create value for the world with their own business. That's terrific. It's capitalistic. It's turning lower use resources into higher use resources. But unless you have a really substantial chunk of your own money, you're going to have to be scrappy and resilient for a long time because it's really hard to get loans for a new business. Now, it doesn't have to be a startup, but it also takes money and expertise for you to identify and buy an existing business if you go that route. And if you hire anyone to help you, you need to quickly produce enough income to have leftover profit, all while paying your overhead expenses, paying your software subscriptions, paying your help, and having enough left over to fuel your own lifestyle. Household names like Apple and Facebook, they are 1 in a million. Now, you don't have to be an Apple or Facebook, but it is tough to own a business. New businesses are unproven. Real estate is proven. There's a reason that wealthy people's money either starts out in real estate or ends up in real estate. But how do you own much real estate? Because real estate is expensive and wealth is created by, again, owning things. Well, the answer is with prudent loans, because real estate is proven. Banks will give you loans, lots of them. Have good credit, be creditworthy, and being creditworthy should be an innate trait in any virtuous human being because it shows that you repay the debts that you owe. I think that when it comes to debt, debt is like fire. Don't let a little kid play with fire, they'll burn down the house. Leave fire to the adults, they'll use it to heat the house. Leave debt to the adults. Use debt to fuel your lifestyle, fuel your ambitions, and fuel your opportunities. And to the scarcity mindset of all debt is bad, here at GRE we say, you're an adult, grow up. Learn that debt is leverage, and your debt doesn't even have to be paid back by you at all. Tenants and inflation both relentlessly and incessantly pay it down for you and even pay it off for you if you want. All right, so then who's really funding your wealth, enabling you to own all these things? And who really funded my wealth from nothing, enabling me to own many things? Leverage from Chase Bank Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and other banks. They give you the opportunity to let them fund your wealth for you. Now look, let's say that you're a kid and you don't know how to responsibly use fire or debt. In fact, you're still just 4 feet tall. But learning about leverage is like seeing the light. Now that you're in the sunlight, a 4-foot tall kid can cast a 20-foot tall shadow. You look like a giant now. 5-to-1 leverage made you not just grow up, but grow into a giant. You suddenly wield the power of a financial giant thanks to the banks. Because with your 20% down payment, you're only putting up 1/5 of the property price. All right, well, how then do these banks make you this financial giant? Well, a real life example for you here. Let's say that your $40K down payment on a $200K income property, when the property appreciates only 4%, you just got a 20% return. That's an $8,000 return on your $40,000 down, 20%. All right, well, let's look at this. How exactly did that just happen for you? That's because you got a 4% return on both your $40K down payment and you also got a 4% return on your $160K borrowed. Yes, the return from that $160K of borrowed bank money, that didn't go to Wells Fargo. It won't go to Chase Bank. It won't go to Bank of America. It all goes to you because you leveraged them. That's how you leverage the banks. That's how you beat the banks. That's how you build wealth, by owning many things. And back in 2022, when property appreciated 10% that year, for example, you then got a 50% leveraged return, and it gets better than that. You can make income property down payments even lower than 20%, like I did when I began, giving you better leverage than 5-to-1. So then a 4-foot tall kid that sees the light can cast an even taller shadow than 20 feet. You become a bigger giant, and any devotee to the channel here knows that this leveraged appreciation that I've been talking about is one of just 5 ways that you can expect to be simultaneously paid just with strategically bought, buy and hold real estate. We're only talking about one of those 5 here. All right, well, that might sound amazing. And if this is new to you, you might even think, there's gotta be a catch here, something. There is, but it's manageable because leverage amplifies losses just like gains. And though it doesn't happen often, real estate can go down in value. All right, so even in a downturn, let's take a look at what happens between any 10-year period. Take any 10-year slice, and nominally, you won't find any loss of real estate pricing in modern history, and you've got to manage cash flows. So no, this is not a 6-month plan here. It's to build wealth durably with a reliable vehicle in more like 5 to 10 years. It gets better as your equity grows, harvesting it out of properties through a cash out refinance. That maintains your magnification into a financial giant, if you will, to stick with the analogy. And every cash out refinance that you do, every lump sum chunk of cash that you take, is a tax-free event, not tax deferred. Tax-free. You can make tax-free cash grabs, separating it out from your properties along the way, since the IRS doesn't classify debt windfalls as taxable income, and you have a pro property manager handling all the day-to-day for you. If you prefer, that's what I do. And see, investors also have the tax advantages that highly compensated employees don't. Highly compensated employees can pay income tax rates of over 40%, federal and state taxes combined. So now you really know why. Wealth is not created from high salaries, it's created from owning things. And you need to be more than creditworthy. You need to be strategic in building your portfolio with the right properties in the right markets. And in fact, we help you with that here at GRE with our completely free investment coaching to make that easy for you. Everything we do is free. We're not trying to upsell you to some paid course or paid coaching. We don't even have that. You'll never acquire wealth from a high salary. If you're in position to put a down payment on income property, if this sounds interesting to you, you can go to gremarketplace.com and book some time with one of our real estate investment coaches right now. Alternatively, find out more about how our investment coaches learn your goals and help you. You can watch that right here.